In this one, we're going to have a look at interfaces. Now, this may be the most complex lesson that we've done so far. Interfaces, they're not something that you grasp straight away, I found, and it's more the experience of using them where you really start to understand them and not start to understand their flexibility and their usefulness. So what are interfaces? Well, an interface is how Go describes behavior. So you will create an interface with a method signature, and any other type which uses that method can be said to be implementing that interface. You don't have to physically write any code that says we are implementing this interface. It's basically any type which uses a particular method on an interface is said to be implicitly using that interface. So these are some of the use cases, and some of these will make more sense to you once we have a little practice, a little example in a moment. But we can group types by shared behavior, and we can write functions that accept many different types. We can make code easier to extend without changing existing functions. We can swap implementations for testing. That's a very, very useful one. And we can design clear and simple program structures. And so, like I say, interfaces, they're one of those things which you really come to understand and appreciate after you've used them for a while. But in this one, I'm going to give you the basic information that you need so that you know what they are and you know how to use them. And the more and more Go Bytes we create, the more we'll use them and the better you'll get with interfaces. Okay, so let's start with an example. First of all, let's write our own interface. And so we're going to use a geometry example here. And so what I'm going to say is type, and the interface will simply be called shape. We are saying that this is an interface. And then, like I say, it's got to have at least one method signature on there. So we don't add any functionality. We're simply defining a method name and maybe its input parameters and its return type, but we're not going to create a body for the function. And so we'll go with the name of area. Not going to need any parameters because the actual data, the actual parameters we need will live on the implementation of the shape interface. That will make more sense in a moment. But the area function is going to return a float 64. Next, I'm going to define a type which will implement this interface. Now, this type is going to be circle, and it's actually going to be a struct, but it could be any type. I want it to be a struct because I want to define a field on here for radius, because calculating the area of a circle will require a radius. And so we'll have a field called radius, and this will also be a float 64. So notice no parentheses here. I don't want a function called radius. I want a field called radius. Okay, so for this next bit, we need to think back to the lesson on methods and receivers, because we are going to create a method which belongs to this circle receiver. And I've just realized that I have completely spelled circle incorrectly. And that method will be called area, and it will return a float 64. So we're going to say func, and we want a circle receiver. And we'll just call this C. You'll see that my IDE is prompting me for like common types of conventions here. And so you might just use a single letter for something like this. Then we're going to say area. And then I'm going to say we are returning a float 64. And when I do that, you'll see that this satisfies the requirements of the area which we defined in the shape interface. So float 64, and you'll notice that my IDE here has given me these little pointy arrows with the letter I. So what does that mean? Well, what they're saying is that this area method satisfies the requirements of the area method on the shape interface, and so therefore my circle struct is implementing the shape interface. And so if that's the first time you've ever heard anything like this or looked at anything like this, Admittedly, yes, it is quite complex and it's quite a lot to get your mind around. The more we do it, and once you have a go at the challenge, then you'll start to understand it a bit more, and with each Go Byte, you'll start to understand it more and more and more. Okay, back to school. Do you remember how you calculate the area of a circle? Pi times radius squared. So we shall return, and we can actually get pi off of the math package. So I can say math pi, and this is a constant. So as you can see, a bunch of mathematical constants are defined inside the math package, and one of those is pi, and it gives us this big long value here. Okay, pi r squared. So pi multiplied by c radius multiplied by c radius. Okay, so that is one implementation of the shape interface. Now, if you were to do the same thing with a rectangle, have a think about what you might need. If you were to create a rectangle struct, you wanted to calculate the area of a rectangle, what fields would you need, and how would you implement the rectangle as an interface, or how would you implement the shape interface on the rectangle? Hopefully you're thinking something like this. First of all, we'd need the rectangle struct, and we'd need a width and a height in order to calculate the area of a rectangle, because the area of a rectangle is simply width multiplied by height. And so how would our area method on the rectangle look different? We would define it like this. So rectangle receiver, name of the function is area, which is returning a float 64, and therefore we are satisfying the requirements of the shape interface and the area method on that shape interface. And then to calculate this, we just return width multiplied by height. Okay, so let's go and put some of this to use. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a function which will take a shape as its parameter. So we're going to say func, and we'll just call this print area. This will take a shape, and we don't need to return anything. We're just going to do some printing here. But we'll say print line, and what we want to print is the area of the shape. We know we have an area function available to us on that shape. And so now what we can do is we can pass in any implementation of the shape, knowing full well, because it implements the shape interface, it will have an area method, and therefore we will be able to pass it into this print area function and know that it's going to work for us. So first of all, let's do the circle. We need to initialize a circle. So we'll say C will be a circle, and it'll have a radius of 3. Might as well do the rectangle while we're here. R will be a rectangle. We need a width. We'll say 4, and we'll also, so after the 4, we need a comma. So remember how this works. When you actually create the struct in the first place, we define the width field, we say what type it is, but we don't actually need a comma here when we're just defining the struct. But when we're actually initializing a real concrete rectangle, then we need to separate those fields with commas, and we also need to give those fields real values. So width will be 4, height will be 5, because I like nice round numbers when I'm teaching examples. And then let's just call print area with each of these. So we will call print area, and we will pass in our circle, because the circle is an implementation of the shape interface. And we'll do the same for our rectangle, because our rectangle is also an implementation of the shape interface. Now, if the rectangle did not have this area method, if this did not exist, then this would not work. And as you can see, we're getting some red underlining here, and it's saying cannot use R type rectangle as the type shape. It does not implement shape, as some methods are missing. So rectangle, because we don't have that area method anymore, is no longer an implementation of shape. and so that would not work. But when it does have that area method and that method satisfies the signature, then we can say that rectangle is a shape. Okay, let's go and print this out. Go run main.go, and so the area of our circle is 28.27 blah blah blah, and the area of our rectangle is 20. Okay, time for a challenge, and I highly recommend you have a go at this challenge, because with something like interfaces, it's just having a go, making those mistakes that beginners might make, and just getting a feel for it. That will really help you understand it and start to make you see the usefulness and how they really work. So here's what I'd like you to have a go at. Create a small logging system using an interface. Define an interface called logger with one method. That will just be log, and you pass a variable which will be message, and that will be of type string. So you're just passing a message into the log function. Then create two types that satisfy this interface. Console logger, this will simply print a message to the terminal, and prefix logger, which will also print to the terminal but will prefix the message with something, for example, info. Okay, and then write a function called run log. So this will be similar to our print area function that will accept a logger, so any implementation of logger, and also accept a message. And then it will call the log method, obviously passing in that message. And then in main, create both loggers and pass them to run log with different messages, and then just run with go run main.go. So this is fairly similar to what we've just done, creating two implementations of an interface which do slightly different things, and a function which will accept any implementation of that interface. So if you need to have a look at the stuff we've already done to compare it and to figure out, then that's perfectly acceptable. Sure, you can do this if you really put your mind to it. Pause me now and give that a go. Okay, now your solution might differ slightly to mine, but this is roughly what you want to be doing. So I'm going to create a type called logger. This will be an interface. We want a method on there called log. This will take a message, which will be a string. Next, we want a console logger. So what type should I make this? I could make it different types, I think, but we're going to make this a struct, but it's not going to have any fields. So just to be clear, I could make this anything. I could make it a string if I really wanted to. You can make your implementations of interfaces all different types, but here I'm just going to use struct because for my info logger I'm going to use a struct for that because I need a field. No fields needed for this one though, but I need to create this log method. It will take a message which is a string. It's not going to return anything, but you'll see now we've got our little green arrow pointing upwards because we are satisfying the interface. This matches this. So console logger is now an implementation of logger. Okay, and this one's simply going to print out to the terminal. So we're saying just print line. Next, we want our other logger. We said this is going to be called prefix logger. So prefixed logger. Again, interface, but this time we need a prefix. So say prefix, and this will be a string. Next we want our other logger, which we said will be called prefixed logger. So prefixed logger, this will also be a struct. And for this we need a prefix, so we'll have a prefix field, which will be a string, and then we want a log method for this. So func, the receiver is prefixed logger. Again, we'll give that a variable name of L. We need a log method, so we're going to call this log. Message will be a string, not returning anything from here, but as you can see, we've got the green upwards pointing arrow. Prefix logger is now an implementation of logger. How will this work? Well, we need to take the prefix from our prefix logger and append that before the actual message. And we can do that simply by passing them as sequential arguments to the print line function, because if you remember how that works, it will print this, then a space, then this, and so that will work for us. Then we want our run log function. I'm going to say func run log. This will take a logger, so logger interface, and also a message. So M, that will be a string. And then we're just going to call the logger method on the logger, passing in the message. And then all we need to do is just go and try this out. So I'm going to race ahead a little here. So we're initializing a console logger. We are initializing a prefix logger with the prefix field, which will simply be info. And then we're going to call run log, passing in the console logger and the message. Then we're going to call run log, passing in the prefix logger and also the message. Let's go and run this. Moment of truth. Go run main.go, starting application, and then for the prefix logger, we have info and then user logged in. Okay, how did you get on with that one? A little bit more code to write than the usual challenges, but I think you had the template there from the previous example, which I did before the challenge. If you gave it a go and you succeeded, then excellent, well done, shows a good understanding. If you gave it a go and you made a few mistakes, then that is just as good, because making mistakes is how you actually learn the quickest. Just giving things a go. Those that have a go at things and they're happy to make mistakes and don't mind people seeing them make mistakes, they are the developers which will learn the quickest. They'll take risks and they'll build the cooler stuff. So always have a go at the challenges. They're really an integral or a really important part of your development. And I think this example here has probably demonstrated just how important it is to have a go at the challenges to fully understand things. So hope you've enjoyed that one. Give the video a like, make sure you subscribed. And because this has been quite a technical one, I always create text versions of the lessons, which probably explain things a little bit more clearly than what I do on videos sometimes. You can find that on GitHub. I'll leave all the information in the description. I'll see you in the next one.